This video is for educational, science, and artistic purposes only. Nothing in this video is illegal, nor am I promoting anything that could be illegal or harmful. Okay, YouTube?
Now you may have seen my homeboy Pigeons 420 video going over the stankiest genetics in 2024. Now this kind of inspired me to think about some of the stankiest that I've come across in the past. In this video I'm going to go over the stankiest genetics I have ever come across, period. And this may be part 1 of 2 because the list is a little bigger than I anticipated. Stay tuned. Let's give a quick shout out to the sponsors who help make this show happen and help make all this content stay free. AC Infinity, one of the leaders in the game when it comes to grow equipment. Whether it be lighting, ventilation, or a whole entire grow kit, AC Infinity's got your back. Use discount code CLtv at checkout at acinfinity.com or CLTVAC10 on Amazon. And also Seedsman. If you're looking for some dank genetics, Seedsman's got your back. Use discount code CLTV at checkout to save on your order. What are some genetics that you've had that are extremely pungent? Let me know below in the comment section. So starting right away, it's going to be one of my all-time favorites, and that would be GMO. Now, not all GMO is the same, and it's not necessarily genetically modified organisms like people are assuming this is. Some will call it garlic cookies, others will call it garlic, mushroom, onion, others will call it great marijuana. I don't know, but that one is probably top 5 all-time favorites. Downside to it is it's a 13-weeker on average, so you may try some that people have had and it doesn't really hit that strong flavor in terms of the kind of rubbery, piney, peppery, gassy, garlicky funk that does come out of a GMO. Sometimes it'll be more planty and mild, and that's usually the case when somebody's pulled it early, and that seems to be common when you're dealing with this 13-week cultivar. Now, as unfortunate as that is, it's just kind of a situation that's pretty common, so a lot of people will cross GMO into other cultivars to be able to have this flowering faster. Now, this is great for a lot of us who are just consumers, but some of us growers do find some less desirable traits when it comes to the crosses compared to the full-on GMO. Now, something like the homie Swank made, which is GMO crossed with papaya syrup, that had a funk to it that did maintain that GMO and was a great extraction cultivar as well. GMO is known to be a good extractor and known to be good smoke. Oftentimes it is a pretty good yielder as well. Now, allegedly the original one, from what I have discovered, is bred by Skunkmaster Flex on behalf of Mimiko Seeds, and this is just internet research. Now, I've heard that Atlas Seeds does have a very good version as well, and there's a couple other brands that have been putting out good versions of GMO, but finding that original one, that's gonna get you that funk that I'm talking about. GMO, stanky. Next on the list would be Candy Fumes. This is by Boston Roots Genetics and Bloom Seed Co., and it is a hitter. I oftentimes don't like the sweets, but this one has this candy, piney, gassy funk that just is pretty unmatchable. When it comes to the extraction version of this, it is such a strong, potent rosin. The flavor is amazing. It just really hits a lot of the candy with a hint of a gas that people oftentimes don't find in flower. Now, the Candy Fumes flower also does get that as well, and it is a very tasty one, mainly because of its crosses of Skittles with the Sherbangr. And Sherbangr, for me, you already know I'm all over that one. That'd be Headbanger and Sunset Sherbet from Boston Roots Genetics, and it's fantastic smoke on its own. But then when you cross it into Skittles, you're gonna get something that's got a little bit of a sweet candy, of course, funk to it, maintaining a little bit of that blueberry gas that you get from the Sherbangr, and it really brings together something that's so unique, aromatic, and tasty that it's definitely high on my list. And I actually am getting ready to pop a Candy Fumes cross soon, and I'm very, very excited to see what I get out of it. Normally I'm not into the sweets and into candies, but this one, I need it in my life. Candy Fumes, stank. Next on my list is Gelinade, and this one is not really up my alley when it comes with the terps, but whew, does it have terps. Sharp, sharp, sharp lemon, citrus with a hint of a pine earth to it, but primarily just sharp lemonade, funky funk. Now, if you're into that citrus kind of funk, this will definitely be something that you want in your garden, or at least want to try out in some capacity. Now, when I'm looking towards getting a genetic like this in the garden, I normally wouldn't, honestly, but just to have that flavor mix up in the variety, this would be one that I think in the citrus department that a consumer like myself may want. Now, when it boils down to it, a genetic like this is definitely going to be more unique than a lot of people maybe want to dabble in, but if you're looking for a citrus and something that really stands out of the pack, this one is definitely going to be it. Gelinade is a cross of Lemon Tree and Gelato 41, so it's got some of that candy sweet funk from the gelato with a little bit of the creamy, danky pine to it, but then it's heavily consumed by that lemon tree. That citrusy pop in the flavor really stands out, and the name really makes sense on this one. She's a looker and a cooker. Not necessarily my favorite when it comes to the terps, but it's definitely strong, pungent, and potent. Culinary, very stanky. Staying in the sweets or the kind of citrusy funk, Superboof would be the next one on my list. And it's a strong, funky, I'd say more citrus leaning cultivar, and it's definitely unique in comparison to what you've seen in the market. Now, Superboof has become a lot more normalized to the majority of people, whether it's destination expo or you're a home grower. And it really boils down to getting yourself into a situation where you're into this kind of flavor before you bring it into your garden. Because for me personally, I hate it.
I hate it.
I'm not into Superboof. I don't like that flavor whatsoever, but I smell that and I know immediately that it's Superboof. It just has that strong, sharp, citrus, floral, candy kind of overtone that really just, it's not for me whatsoever, but it's something that when you smell it, your head turns immediately. It's a different kind of smell that really translates to the flavor heavily. And similar to Gelinade, it's going to be an acquired taste, like clearly I'm stating there, but it's one that I really feel majority of people should taste and figure out if they like or not, because it's so unique, it almost falls in a category of its own. Now, when it comes to potency of it, it's not something that necessarily, kicks me there and really gets me where I need to go. But again, I feel like that terpene in particular is not necessarily my cup of tea, so that may play some into it. My endocannabinoid system isn't the same as yours. Maybe it's similar. Maybe we smoke common stuff, but that Superboof is not necessarily something I'm going to be seeking out. But I really do think that it's so unique that it's worth giving a shot, at least once. Superboof, stanky. Next on my list is Jesus OG, and this one was definitely a little bit more on that sharp kind of lemon funk, but leaned a lot more on that skunky, funky gas that I was really into. It had a similar dankness to a Jack Hare, but it was a little bit more of a gas to it. This one kind of gave you like that burnt nose funk. As soon as you take a nice inhale, you just gotta hit the head back. Sometimes you sneeze even. It just was a very, very aromatic, pungent, dank one. This is a cross of Jack the Ripper and Hell's OG, which probably the lineage makes a little sense there. And it really brought in that lemon skunk funk to it that made it really unique and stand out of the pack. It wasn't your traditional OG in the terms of the looks of it, but it definitely had that OG backing in the smoke. Depending on the Jesus OG phenotype that you come across, a lot of times you'll have one that'll be a nice green sharp bud with a lot of trichomes and a very, very pungent, funky, aromatic dank. You don't even need to crack these buds open. Just ruffle the bag or the jar a little bit and whew, it's just so funky. When it comes to the medicinal side and the effects, essentially it was very, very heady for me, and sometimes it was to the point where I had that euphoric, floating good feeling, and other times I felt like I was just, or almost felt like I had like that Addy buzz, and it just really didn't give me the like the good effect that I wanted, but I had clarity. And when it boils down to it, this is an OG that I would probably get again if I found the right one, and it's definitely one that I highly recommend for those of you who are looking for that kind of lemony funk mixed with that OG. Jesus OG, stanky. Next on the list is one that I personally am honestly not a fan of, but I feel like if you're into some blueberry funk, you need to check this one out. And that would be Blueberry Muffin from Humboldt Seed Company. It's the most blueberry funk I've ever had. This was Wink's go-to back when we were working at Franklin Fields. And man, when I say blueberry, like this was so sharp blueberry that when you walk into the grow, filled with multiple other cultivars, you just get smacked in the face with blueberry pancakes. It was such a strong smell, borderline like blueberry pancakes with some syrup on it, just funky. I personally didn't like that in my smoke, personally. But when it comes to stinky, funky, unique, Blueberry Muffin was definitely right up there. Now, for a lot of the new school consumers, they really like the fact that this had a little bit of the purple funk to it, and it really made people feel like it had that exotic look to it. And then to have that aroma backing with it is just very, very unique, because oftentimes you'll see purple bud and it doesn't have much of a smell, in my opinion, oftentimes. Not always, but oftentimes. And these days it seems like as long as you have that purple look, it'll go in the market and it'll do decent. But when you're dealing with something like Blueberry Muffin, this one has such a smell to it that most people will jump on it just because it's so unique. It's something you want to show off. It's conversation bud. It's the stuff you bring to the party to say, yo, check this out. Honestly, everything on this list is the stuff that you bring to the party so people will know that you're the one with the loud, because when you open the bag, it makes the entire house stink wherever you're at, in a store somewhere and you're getting it from the display. When they open that container, whew, it just reeks, and it is beautiful. It's great, don't get me wrong, but blueberry just is not my cup of tea personally, whether it be artificial or real blueberries. Actually, no, I like real blueberries, but artificial blueberries, nah, not so much. Not so much. But this is why when something like Blueberry Buffet comes around, I oftentimes will still grab a little bit just because it's so unique. I think blueberry muffin mixed with something like a Sherbanger, which already has that kind of blueberry gas, could be pretty funky. Or maybe that mixed with something like a GMO and give it that like berry garlic funk. I don't know, could be unique, but in particular, blueberry muffin is not my go-to, but I do recommend if you're looking for something in that berry department, blueberry muffin's probably number one. It's crazy fire, just not my fire personally.
Blueberry muffin stanks.
And last on my list was one that always will be memorable and kind of hold near and dear to my heart because it was one that I grew early on, and obviously the breeder passed away and was a great icon in this community, and that'd be Vortex by TGA Subcool. Now, this was a cross of Apollo 13 and Space Queen, and it was definitely a lot more into that tropical, fruity, kind of almost pina colada funk, maybe, if that even was in the right thing. I don't even know if that's the right, I've never had a pina colada, but that kind of artificial candy flavor. And it really was something at the time that stood out in terms of that flavor. Now there was a bunch of unique flavors, but this was like the original kind of candy funk that I had. And it stood out to me more than others because at the time I just had pretty much a lot more piney, skunky, gassy stuff, which now I just miss and wish I had, but it's like, it's hard to seek a lot of those things out in terms of the originals to get them from the original breeders. That's why I had to go back and get myself another pack of Karma Genetics Headbanger because honestly, I want to keep that one until the day I die. I love that flavor. I don't give a damn. But some of the other ones that have gotten away, I wish I would have kept. And honestly, Vortex, even though it doesn't sound like it would be in my normal flavor profile, it's one that I wish I would have kept around. The dankness of this one was so unique, and it really, really stunk the entire room up in a way that didn't even smell like bud. It almost was like a tropical potpourri. You know, I felt like we were like heading to Hawaii. It was just so dank and so fire. I think the mix of the Apollo 13, which in the past I've had Apollo 13 that was almost like a baby diaper, mixed with that Space Queen, just kind of came together and made something that was so unique and different that it was worth keeping around. And I really wish I didn't have that grass is green on the other side mentality. This one could have made it on my list of genetics I regret losing. But man, if you get a chance to get Vortex and you get the actual Vortex TGA Subcool, whew, that flavor pops. You'll smell it from a mile away. Like that one you could not hide during harvest time. None of these you could hide during harvest time, but that one, people would smell it and not even know you're harvesting bud. It was just so nice. I loved it. But, you know, you win some, you lose some, you grow some, and you grew some. Those are bars. Again, big shout out to AC Infinity and Seedsman as well for sponsoring this video. You can use discount code CLtv on their website and save on your order. Thank you a ton for watching this video. I hope you have a great day, even better tomorrow. Stay lifted. Peace. Growers who are looking for that secret sauce usually are just missing something from their garden. And to help with that, we bring you the Stash Blend Premium Plant Additive. Stash Blend brings beneficial bacteria, silicon, seaweed, humic acid, and has enough macronutrition to help lower the dosages of your base feed too. Unleash your plant's true potential with Stash Blend Premium Plant Additive. Available at Growers House.